Hello, sixth graders. Welcome to Solving Inequalities Using Multiplication or Division lesson. Pause while you write the lesson title in your math notebook. Pause again while you write today's lesson objective in your notebook. Today's objective is, I can use the properties of inequality to solve inequalities by completing practice problems with 100% accuracy in multiple attempts. Today's lesson addresses two Arizona standards. The first is solve an equation or inequality to choose or create a set of values that make the equation or inequality true. And our second standard is create, solve, and graph inequalities to represent constraints in a real-world problem. Let's take a look at the key ideas that we see here. The multiplication property of inequality. When you multiply each side of an inequality by the same positive number, the inequality remains true. So in numbers, that looks like 8 is greater than 6. So if we multiply each side by 2, we have 8 times 2 is greater than 6 times 2, and we simplify that to be 16 is greater than 12. In algebra, it looks like this. X over 4, or x divided by 4, is less than 2. So we multiply both sides by 4, and that gives us a 4 over 4, which remember equals 1, and an x. So it's 1x on the left side, and we don't see the 1, it's just an x. And then on the right side, it's 2 times 4. So x is less than 8. And the division property of inequality works just about exactly the same way. When you divide each side of an inequality by the same positive number, the inequality remains true. So numbers, 8 is greater than 6. So if we divide both sides by 2, we end up with 4 is greater than 3, and that is correct. And in algebra, if we have 4x is less than 8, then we would want to divide both sides by 4, and that again gives us the 4 over 4, and so that leaves us with 1x on the left is less than 8 over 4, which is 2. These properties are also true for less than or equal to and greater than or equal to. And remember that multiplication and division are inverse operations. Let's dive into example 1, solving an inequality using multiplication. So our inequality is x divided by 5, or x over 5 less than or equal to 2, and we're going to graph the solution. So the first step, write the inequality. The second step, we're using the multiplication property of inequality to undo that division. So x over 5, we need to undo that division to get x by itself. So we undo that by multiplying by 5. So that 5 over 5 becomes a 1, so we've got 1x on the left, and we've got 2 times 5 on the right, and that gives us a 10. So x is less than or equal to 10. So the solution is x is less than or equal to 10, and since it's got or equal to, it's got the line underneath it, we need to fill in our circle, and the variable is on the left, so we can remember the trick of just following and using our sign as a pointer and matching it up to the arrow on the end of our number line to get a correct graph. Example 2, we're solving an inequality using division. So we're going to solve 4n is greater than 32 and graph that solution. So we first write the inequality, and then we want to undo the multiplication. So it's got multiplication, so we're undoing that using division. So we have 4 over 4, which equals 1, and leaves us with an n on the left. and 32 divided by 4 is 8. So n is greater than 8. Our variable is on the left, so we can match up the sign to the arrow on the end. We need to remember to use an open circle because there's no line underneath our inequality sign. And that's it, we're all graphed. Now we're going to take a look at a real-life application. A one-way bus ride costs $1.75. A 30-day bus pass costs $42. So A and B are both on this same screen because they're very related. So we are going to write and solve an inequality to find the least number of one-way rides you need to take to make the 30-day bus pass a better deal than riding individually. And letter B says you ride the bus an average of 20 times each month. Is the pass a better deal? Yes or no? And you're going to explain. So let's start with A. So the words, the price of a one-way ride is one thing that we have to consider. And we're going to multiply that by the number of one-way rides that we take. And that has to be more than $42 in order to make this pass a better deal. So R is the number of one-way rides, and $1.75 is the price of a one-way ride, and then we have that multiplication sign in there. So it's $1.75 times R is greater than or just greater than $42. So we don't want greater than or equal to, because if it's equal to, then it would just be the same deal. It wouldn't be a better deal. So when we write the inequality, it looks like this. $1.75 R is greater than 42. So $1.75 times all the rides you take is going to be greater than $42 in order to make the bus pass a better deal. So we need to use the division property of inequality, which means we're dividing both sides by $1.75 to get that R by itself. So $1.75 divided by $1.75 is 1. And so that leaves us with an R on the left, and 42 divided by $1.75 is 24. So you need to take more than 24 one-way rides for the pass to be a better deal. So now let's look at letter B. It asks us, well, what happens if you only take 20 rides each month? And so now we know our answer because we answered letter A. No, that's not going to be a good deal because the cost of 20 one-way rides is less than $42. So the pass is not a better deal. You would be better off paying $1.75 for each ride if you're only going to ride 20 times. Here's what you need to do next to finish this lesson. You need to be sure your notes are complete in your ISN, complete your Google Form questions, review your lesson if you need to, and complete your Big Ideas math assignment in your Math Spiral notebook. Be sure you submit that when it is 100% correct, not before, and track your progress on your playlist.